Alright guys, so most of you guys know that I'm already in Shindo Story CC, and you might be asking yourself, well, how can I personally get into Shindo Story myself? In this video, I'll go over some main things that you need to know about getting into Shindo Story, and tips that will help you increase your chance get into Shindo Story. Let's start with the basics. So first, you'll need to join their sovereignties. It's basically village sovereignties, and in these village sovereignties, there's basically a bunch of different little organizations. If you get into these organizations, you are apparently in Shindo Story. So first things first, you gotta join their Discord server. All the sovereignties, well, not all, but if you're really desperate, you could just join all. And you just have to wait, get notified or pinged about organization tryouts or applications. And then if it's application, you just fill it out, submit it. If it's tryouts, join that server code. It will be most likely full within 5 seconds. But if you do manage to get in, then good for you. If you pass, then yeah, you're in Shindo Story. Alright, for this first tip that will boost you up by a lot is for tryouts. Alright, get used to using only elemental moves and taijutsu. Most likely, some organizations, they say you could use the first row or this specific type of taijutsu. So mostly main organizations will do the first row or certain taijutsu moves. For elements, for Rex Taka, it's first 3 elemental moves based on what I know. I don't know about other organizations, but I do know that you cannot use any bloodline, modes, subjutsus, and the only weapons you're limited to are you can only use a katana. You could also only use a kunai and your fists as weapons. For throwables, you cannot use scroll-related throwables. And those are the main things you need to know when trying out. You cannot use any bloodlines, subjutsu, modes, and only fists, non-scroll throwables, and kunai and katanas. For the next tip, it's not really on how to get into Shindo Story, but how to stay into Shindo Story. So the first things is that once you get into Shindo Story, it's too early to start celebrating, because for Akusan Kutou, you apparently have to attend 4 classes. That's right, 4 classes. You can't determine when the classes take place unless there are very few people who need the classes. And if you take these classes, then good for you. But if you have to take notes, because when you first join Akusan Kutou, you are a prospect, and you have to pass the Denshindo exams, and then those Denshindo exams are based on the 4 classes. If you fail the Denshindo exams, you're kicked from Akusan Kutou, which means you have to rejoin through applications or tryouts. I'm not sure about other organizations; they probably have their own things, but I'm not really sure. So just if you join, look at the rules and look at the requirements in order to pass, or I'm not really sure. And for the next tip, don't limit yourself to only one organization unless you're a friend or you're really dedicated to that organization. There are many organizations you could join, such as Akame Rekan, Rex Taka, Akusan Kutou, Raijin no Senshi, and a bunch of other more organizations. So the more organizations you try out for, the higher chance that you'll get into Shindo Story. Alright, for this next tip, it's to prepare. Yes, prepare. You don't have to know when the trials or applications open up. For application tryouts, you could just keep rewrite, scratch it over on Google Docs or Microsoft Edge. I'm not really sure how you do it. For tryouts, keep training, practicing PvP your friends with only elemental and subjutsu, with only elemental and taijutsu moves. And yeah, it could take many days, weeks, or perhaps even months if you're really dedicated to get into Shindo Story. This next tip is, I think most of you guys know, just if you try for applications, make it very long, detailed, and specific. Because, for example, if you put something like, oh, because I'm cool and I could give you 100,000 Robux if I get into Shindo Story, yeah, you're not getting it. You're not getting anywhere with that thing. You ain't getting anywhere with that thing. Make it very long, detailed. I think what they mostly look at is why should we choose you over other people? I think that's the main thing they're looking at, because other things such as like how active are you, I think that's not that. I think that's not the main point, because most of the things happen during EST. Well, I live in EST, so it's not much of a big problem for me. And yeah. Well, I do have a confession to make. The reason why I have been uploading much is because schoolwork, things that have been happening in my life recently, and I'll try to get back to daily uploading on basically CC content. Now that I'm getting inside of CC, I'll try to post more every day. All right, peace, guys.